Well, there she is, and I'm over the moon. I'm really happy. It's taken, there's, you know, a month's work gone into this, 5 weeks actually, and I'm extremely happy. So what I've been doing is setting up Mach3 Turn. Now, quite honestly, I've never used Mach3 Turn. I've used some professional turning programs on Mach3, but never used the Mach3. I've always used the mill, and I can tell you it's a similar program, only there are differences in this that even I'm getting used to, but we'll learn to use it together. You might want to grab yourself a cup of coffee and sit down, because this video could be quite long, because there's a lot of information that you know, I've got to sort of put over, and because it gets a little complex, and I'll try and explain it the easiest way that I can. So I think it's about time to possibly do our first cut. Now, for that we're going to use the wizards in Mach3 Turn. So I'll zoom you into the screen so you can see what I'm doing. Wizard, where are you? There you are. Pick a wizard. I did save it last time. Run. Okay, so what we're going to do this time is say start where it says end. We're going to leave that as 0, and this time we're going to reverse it. So we're going to say, let's measure this again, 26. So we're going to say that's 14 millimeters, and enter. Plunge rate 50. I'm happy with that. So what we're saying is we want to start on the outside of the material and end at 0 in the middle of the material. Actually, I think it was taking too finer cuts as well, but we'll see how we go. So what we're going to do is say start plus 0.5, Z end minus 1.25. Enter. I'm going to be a little bit clearance, 1 millimeter. So that's where it's going to retract back off the material and come out. Clearance over the material that's been cut. Rough in feed rate, we're going to still say 100. And finish of 50. I was happy with those. Now then, so I'm going to say 0.4, a little bit deeper. The finish 0.125, possibly. And we're going to post the code. See, I didn't press enter. 0.125. Enter. Post the code. Okay, so that's looking, I'm a little bit happier with that. So we're going to go now to our screen, and we're going to go to our manual screen, because we're going to now touch off on the Z, give it a new Z location. I'll bring the camera down for that. Okay, we're going to say that's good. Part 0Z. So I'm going to back it off now to a safe distance. And we're going to run the code. And the reason I run with nylon, because if I ever crash, it's not going to do too much damage. Here we go. So see, it's doing the cut on the way in now. That's a much cleaner cut. Here's the finished cut. So that's it. Very good. Okay, that's a beautiful cut. So that's a facing operation. So now we might do a little bit of turning. Okay, so back into the wizards. Pick a wizard. Turn in. Run. Let's do a turning operation now. So what we're going to do, okay, so this one's slightly different. Start X 25. So these must have been just in Mach3, I don't know. Start X. Start X. I think let's just measure this again. See, 26, that's 13. So we'll start at 13 millimeters. 0. Starting. Cut ends at 13. We're going to go down to 10. Fillet radius. Do we want a fillet radius? Yeah, we're going to give it a 1 millimeter fillet radius. Now then, Z, start, +1, that's at 1 millimeter before the end of the material. I'm going to leave that. And we're going to say 10 millimeters. So it's negative. Anything this side of the end of the material is negative. So if you don't put negative in there, it won't do anything at all. Negative 10 millimeters. Negative 10 millimeters. Clearance 0.6 of a millimeter. Now I like a fair bit of clearance, so 1.0. I'm going to come in millimeter. Roughing feed rate 1000. I think that's a little bit too much. Again, we're going to go. I think we'll stick with 100. I think. Rough in depth we're going to go 0.4, enter, finish cut 50 millimeters. Oh, finish feed rate 50 millimeters a minute, that is. Finish part 1.25. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. And we're going to, I'll save settings. And we'll post the code. Ooh, what's happened there? Well, there it is. That looks reasonably what we're asking it to do, I think. A little radius in there. So I think that's good. Can't see anything wrong with that. So now we need to go into manual mode and give it a new Z. So I'll put the camera down to the machine for that. So I'm going to say part Z0 is right there. Okay, so back it off. Okay, so let's run that code. Finish it cut, I think. Probably not the best type of tool to cut nylon. Okay, that's it. It's not a bad cut once I've pulled all the bits off. Not a perfect cut, but the problem I had is this is the only actual tool that I've got that'll fit this little lathe. All my other tools they're actually 2 millimeters too high, the end of the tool, so I can't really use them on this. And I didn't think about that until until this morning when I went to put the tool in. So this isn't really the best type of tool to cut nylon. Actually, it's this Polystone 7000. It's nearly Teflon, actually. But, well, it sort of proves a point, and shows you that it does actually work. I think what I might do is rotate the tool a little bit and reset the X0, and I might throw a bit of aluminium in there and face it off, or do a bit of cutting on that. Yep, I think we'll do that. I'll clean this mess up first. So the first thing that we are going to do is, and got to make an apology here, I thought my lathe tools, or some of my lathe tools, would fit this lathe, but they don't. They're about 2 millimeters too high above the center line of the machine. So the only tool I can find that will fit it, that I can get it in there to start doing something, is this boring bar, actually. So I'm going to put this in here and pack it up and bring it up to the center height of the lathe, and we will then continue through then, and we'll start using some of the wizards in Mach3. And that is one of the main reasons actually I designed this whole project, because there's a lot of people out there that's been asking me about Mach3 Turn. So I decided that I would do a full conversion, show you how to do it, and use it then as a teaching aid to show you how to use Mach3 Turn and also Fusion 360 Turn. Hopefully you can just about pick that up. It's about 1/8 of an inch or 3 millimeters too low above the center height of that, the center height of the machine there. So I've got to pack it up till it's right on center there. Okay, hopefully you can see that a little better now. I slipped a bit of yellow card in behind there. Let's just sneak this up. And I think you'll agree with me that that's pretty well bang on center height. Okay, let's get a little bit more precise with our setup now. This is a small billet of aluminium. So what I'm going to do is just take a shaving off here and measure the diameter and put that into Mach3 and accurately set the X. Okay, now without moving anything, let's accurately measure this. Let me move the Z up out of the way. And then I can come in around the other way. So we'll measure it a couple of times just to let's get our accuracy right, set to 0. $37.83. Let's just check it again. $37.82. Third time lucky. $37.83. So we're going to call it $37.83. So in Mach3, in the X, I'm in the wrong screen, we need to be manual. In the X we need to put 37.83, press enter. So We're going to find out whether I should be putting the radius or the diameter mode in diameter in there. I'm not really sure myself. Okay, let's run it into 0. Yeah, I should have put the radius in there. I should have divided that by 2. So let's run it back out. $37.83. We'll get the calculator out with this one. Okay, 18,915. So it's half that number. So highlight in the X and 18.915, enter. And we'll just run it into the center to have a look, see if it's anywhere close. Well, that is pretty well close to 0 on the Mach3. Let's just have a little look. Pretty well looks in the center to me. So that is a more accurate way to define the center of your machine. So you put a billet of material, aluminium, could be steel, anything. Just take a shaving off it, take a measurement, and divide it by 2 and put half the measurement in, as we've just found. So whether the X center of the material, regardless of whether you're in diameter mode, you have to put the radius number in. I mean, I've just learnt that as well. Right, after defining our X0, the center of the material, we're going to open up a wizard, and we're going to do an OD arc. So we'll open the wizards, lathe turning. Rather than an OD arc, what I want to do is I want to do an OD turn with a fillet, with a nice large fillet. Okay. So our material is 38.2. 38.2. So that's so I'm going to call the radius 19.5. 19.2. That'll do. So X start 19.2. Of course, a 40 millimeter lump of aluminium is quite a job for this little lathe too. Press enter, otherwise it won't take. 10. We're going to go a little bit lower than that. We're going to go to 8, which is 16 millimeter overall diameter. Take that. Now I want a nice, quite a large radius. So let me see. I think it'll do a 5 millimeter. It should do. Nice 5 millimeter. It'll be close. Z start, a millimeter, yeah, that'll be okay, I think. Z end, I'm going to go 12 millimeter. A clearance, 1 millimeter clearance, that's fine. Feed rate, that's fine. Depth of cut, a little bit much for aluminium, so we're going to go 0.25. No, I didn't know. 0.4. No, I'm going to split the difference here. 0.35. Enter. .125 for the, yeah, these will be fine. So let's see if it will post the code. The only question mark is this radius fillet. So save settings. Oh, see, gets me every time. Minus. Oop. There we go. Postcode. Let's have a look. That looks to be okay. That's going to be fairly reasonable, I think. As a demonstration, we'll go with that. Now all we've got to do is touch off for our Z. So I'll bring the camera down now for that. So I'll just fetch it over now, quietly. Let's just clean the end of that off so I can see. Take it in a little bit, and over this way. Okay, that's good. So we'll take it off to a relatively safe distance. Let's see what the little lathe makes of this. So, at 1000 RPM, I'm going to bring the feed down slightly, and then I'll speed the feed rate up when I know everything is fine. Well, that made short work of that. And it looks to be a beautiful, got shavings everywhere. My word. Well, look at that for a cut. That's not too shabby. I'll just move the tool post out the way. Give you a little bit of a better look. Let's that is quite a nice, very nice cut actually. I'll just get a cloth and just wipe that off. The reason it was smoking a little bit, the only cutting agent I had, and I use quite a lot actually, is WD-40, and it tends to smoke a bit. Of course the discoloration there is because I had a build-up of swarf on the tool, and it was rubbing. But hey, that's not bad. It made short work of it. Very powerful little lathe. It's deceiving. Wow, I'm really happy. I think this is going to be, you know, this is a really nice project. I've thoroughly enjoyed every bit of this project. You know, designing the parts, putting it together, all the fiddly little bits, and I've got a full-on CNC little lathe, something you can really do something with. And at this point I would like to thank my patrons out there for their assistance, because without them this would be very difficult for me to do. And if any of you out there would like to become a patron, please pop along to my Patreon pages and I would be very grateful. Talking about patrons, in approximately I say a week and a half to 2 weeks, all the drawings for this will be up on my Patreon pages. And just another reminder too, that if you want those drawings, you must become a patron, and you won't be entitled to download those pages until you have been a patron for at least a month, because Patreon tells me that people have been coming in saying and pledging that they're going to become patrons, downloading drawings from my Patreon pages and then declining. So to stop that despicable behavior, Patreon's done something about it, so that's why there's a month's delay. You know, I'm sorry about that, but there are some people out there that don't do the right thing. Anyway, the coming weeks, I think what we will do is I will do more in-depth with Mach3 Turn and the wizards. We will then move into Fusion 360, the turn-in part of that. And I will remind everybody that Fusion 360 is a free program to hobbyists and to startup businesses earning less than $100,000 per year. It's a very powerful program. Probably the most powerful program readily available in the world. Another reminder too, if you use that program, you must have a relatively good internet connection. It is cloud-based. I've had a few people contact me saying that Fusion 360 is very slow. and of course it comes down to what type of internet connection that you have. Obviously a broadband internet connection is the best. Also, I'd like to tell you, Mach3. I have been using Mach3 for 10 years now, and I've, as you can see, licensed to Roger Clyde Webb. I have it on all my machines. It's a brilliant program. I will remind you that you can download this from Artsoft and you can use it for free, but you are limited to I think it's either 50 or 100 lines of code, but there's nothing stopping you downloading this program and practicing with the wizards. You know, you're not going to be able to run a machine with it until you pay the license. And I will remind you that this only works with, I think, up to Windows 8.1, is it? Definitely Windows 7. And, you know, if you've got an older computer around, clean it up, dust it off, and this will work perfectly with it. Of course, Mach4 is the program if you've got Windows 10. Now, I don't know, I haven't got it myself yet. I do plan to get it, and I do plan to modify one of my machines to operate with Mach4, but that's later on in the year. So, that's a lot of information into I'm not sure how long this video is going to be, but probably half an hour. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, please press like and subscribe to my channel. And also, I do have 2 channels. Now, on a phone, if you scroll across on the toolbar and go in the About menu, listed down there is my second channel. It's called CNC Lasers and More. Also, if you're looking on a computer, the banner above my homepage of YouTube, it's over on your right hand side. Of course, I'm looking at the camera here, and everything's mirror image. Okay, so all I've got to do now is say bye for now until next time.